Welcome to the Planet Jade podcast featuring your hosts, Jesse, also known as
And
Chester Jenkins, and Jeremy
Jeremy
Garner.
Garner. I just introduced myself.
He could introduce himself.
I was just like, and Jeremy Garner.
Right.
It's like,
Just so you know, I'm in the room, you guys. Okay. So we decided to do this podcast because Jeremy was like, hey, we should do a podcast. And so we decided to just randomly record.
We're just gonna kind of
Yeah.
go with the moment.
Yeah, I had a central theme, which was that people should be allowed to think and say what they feel.
Whatever the fuck they
And
want.
yeah, say whatever the fuck they want without being attacked. And,
Hmm
Jeremy, you must know what that's like to see. I mean, we all know if you're on the internet, you see just people saying shit and,
Trolls everywhere.
trolls, responding to that can be exhausting. Why am I just going to complain when you're complaining?
Right. So, but wait, so we're saying that you should be able to say anything you want. So that would incorporate trolls, right? So they're
Right, that would incorporate trolls, and they do.
like they're already doing the very thing we're talking about. So there has to be. It's like
So maybe we should be trolls. Maybe we should just.
we just
I mean, but I
we
think
could.
a lot of trolls do it at the expense of a laugh. Sometimes trolls can be informative. I don't
Yeah,
think trolls are just pissy.
not all the time,
But
but sometimes they
not
are.
all the time.
Sometimes I mean, the definition of a troll, they tend to be.
Well, what do you say about the term social justice warrior, SJW?
That sounds like not really a club that I would want to be in, but not because I don't agree. It's not that I don't agree with the social justice, but I don't really need that warrior part. Like
Right, the warrior part.
I
That's what
like
I read something I wrote about that. It's like that's the thing with being a warrior. You have to carry armor, knives. You know, you got to be making sure that you got the bulletproof vest. That's a lot of weight to
that's a
carry.
lot of weight, you know. You'd have to have
Yeah.
badges and all that.
Right.
So I think it's better if like, yeah, I think it's much better to just be you're interested in social justice. But that,
Hmm.
I mean, why not even social, just justice, right?
Justice. Right.
And
Exactly. Yeah.
let's cut out more words out of that.
Hmm. Right.
Just
Just
ice.
justice.
All
Right.
right. Yeah.
Just ice. Don't add no water in this, man. Just ice.
Just ice.
Justice.
That's all we need
Right. That's
to
all we need.
freeze
Yeah.
and just see what's really there. And yeah, and so I think like I don't know. I sometimes think that like just like this is the thing I was talking about to someone the other day actually. The idea of justice. It's really funny. We look at justice when somebody says you're gonna get justice dealt to you. Generally,
Right.
people are scared. Like that sounds like a bad thing. And the reason that sounds like a
Hmm.
bad thing is because we live in an unjust world where our justice system is unjust.
Right.
So we have no concept of what justice even really is. I think that justice would generally be like a genuinely compassionate, understanding force. That if you heard
Yes.
that you were about to get justice, you wouldn't feel scared. You would actually feel relieved because you were going to be
Right.
helped
It's
or whatever.
redeeming. Well, I think the
Redeeming,
problem is most people see justice as punitive.
punishment,
That's the
right?
biggest, right. That's the biggest thing is that justice for so many people is punitive. So they want to see you burn.
Right.
Like
And that should not be
you should,
justice. That's
right.
not what
That's
justice
not
is.
just that's not justice because it doesn't do anything. Once that person receives that karma, then what?
Exactly.
Then you might receive karma for being happy that they
Right,
just
right,
got the
exactly.
karma. So like, what is it gain? There's no gaining in
Yeah, I
in
don't think like yeah, so somebody goes around kills some people. That's a terrible thing to do. You can judge that act as being wrong, but then they're gonna get tortured to death. And you say,
haha,
"Yeah, he deserves it."
yeah,
Yeah.
deserve
Then
torture.
then what does that make you? You know, you're in the same boat at that point.
Right. Because then at that point, who cares? Then the
Right.
person is dead. And it's like, well, at least they died. It was like, yeah, but you're gonna die too,
Yeah.
and you might die just by, so like,
Right.
who?
Yeah.
So I
And
don't know. I
ultimately
feel like
I
justice.
would rather see that person um realize what they had done and come to terms with it and then be repentant to that and then change
Hmm.
their ways and see them change and become a better person. I mean, that would be
Yes,
far better.
that would be far better, and it's obviously better for people to realize that change comes in stages. Change is not immediate. I think a lot of people, when they think of change, they think of it as an instant microwave, pop, and that's not how it works.
No.
It takes identification. First, people need to be aware of why they're wrong and what that means and how it feels, because people just run away from it because they're just so desperate to prove something. It's
Yeah.
like, but you don't have to prove nothing to nobody,
No, you really
because
don't.
it has no meaning in it anyway.
Exactly. That's so
But
true.
we don't do it because when you're on social media, certain things are better left unsaid
Right.
as to avoid the mob.
Who's the mob? Oh, the mob is like
Well,
a.
the mob is a set of ideas that can't be challenged. So, like,
Oh,
for
right, right,
instance,
right, right. Yeah, yeah. I
the
see what you're
current thing is to be like, "Ooh, am I gonna say it? Should I?"
Right. There's a
Uh
lot of
oh.
people feeling
Yeah.
that around the world. This is the funny thing. A lot of people have certain thoughts and opinions that
Right.
are extremely offensive, probably to a lot of people. And that if they were to say them, I think people would be shocked at how many people are actually just keeping quiet about things they'd normally say because they're scared of the reaction, which to me
Yep.
means they haven't really understood any of these things that we're talking about, or they perhaps don't even resonate or believe in them.
Oh
Um,
yes.
and yet we all think they are because it's all peer pressure and they're too scared to say anything because if they do, they get attacked. Wait, what did you say? It cut out. Context
Does
is what?
it? I was saying, so context matters in any
It
situation.
does. Yeah.
You have to examine the variables that were at play that caused what happened to
Yeah.
happen, because sometimes it's not an intentional thing. People end up, hurting somebody. Because
Right.
just think about the many ways we misunderstand each other on a
All
day-to-day
the time.
basis,
All the
and
time.
then
We always do
amplify
things that we
that.
regret, and we
Right.
all, there's never any, you don't really see too much compassion. And I think, I really like this Prince lyric on Planet Earth, and it says, do we want to judge another lest we be judged too? Careful now, the next one might be you.
Right. Careful now. We're all guilty of it. And, the more we focus on just that attack, because again, it's about conversation. What are we doing to acknowledge that wound, and,
Yeah.
also realizing we have to we have to put ourselves in that place. And we don't like to do that often because it's like, but
No,
see, that's when
it's hard to do
being,
that.
it's hard to do that, but empathy is a very important, characteristic, because it at least keeps us at peace with each other.
Exactly. The very people we're talking about that criticize and
Mm.
put all these people down, we are critiquing them right now.
Well, of course, but
So
see, that's
we can,
only because they
they started it.
they started it. Exactly. They hit first. God
Yeah,
damn. Are
they want
viable.
people to be angry
Hmm.
and against each other because that's part
Yeah,
of the
that's
the,
part of the scheme.
the scheme.
It's just an interesting time to live in, because it just kind of jumped. It never at any time in recent history that I recall. I mean, this could just be another configuration of the same shit
Right.
that's been going on since the dawn of man. But it seems like now, since we've become masters at technology and we've been able to just communicate more efficiently, like just me and you talking right now, you're in fucking New Zealand
Yeah.
and I'm in Minneapolis,
Mhm.
but we're still talking,
Right.
and it's still in the present. And when people listen to it, they're listening to it in real time. It's not like I gotta
From
wait
anywhere in the
3 months
world.
to
Yeah.
send you a pack. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I think the problem is we're forgetting that virtual connection is misguided through. It's totally misguided, because usually when you interact with people around your city, most of them motherfuckers don't know what the hell they doing besides judging.
It's true. I mean, people
you
tend
know.
to just get up and they kind of walk around with their day and they just kind of,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they
They
walk
don't
down the
really
street, they
engage
put
it.
on their tie and they
Right. They
just,
put on their tie and cut the
isn't that a
grass
weird
and
thing, that tie? Like, A tie, like for a start, like you literally call it a tie, like it's to tie you down or tie you up to the fucking job. It's a completely meaningless item of clothing. Like it doesn't do anything. It's basically like wearing a collar around your neck with a leash.
You're totally see. Don't corrupt it. And see, let me say this: on a good suit, in fact, on my picture on Instagram, the tie can look like a motherfucking
Oh,
accent.
yeah,
Just
no, you're
really
right. You
shine.
you can
If
get a
it's,
tie to look good. That's true. That's true.
but if you on the context of just
But
let
you
me
can
just
get
wear this,
collars to look good too.
right? You can, or
But
chains.
or chains, yeah. But I'm just saying it's interesting that they put that on especially for business and for job because it's
That's true.
literally
It's a
like they're
symbol, but it's
tying
totally a symbol. I wonder
yeah,
what's the connection to that.
they're tying you down, tying you down to time.
What about a bow tie? Is that a fancy way of saying the
Huh.
same shit?
Yeah, kind of, yeah, because it goes right around your whole neck, really.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, there was something I was gonna say though. What was that? Oh yeah, I was gonna say like, if more people were able to say the things that they actually thought, and we were a little bit more tolerant of other perspectives
Hmm.
rather than just one, even if it seems offensive, it's like, well, still hear it out. If we had more of that, I think there would be less trolls. If somebody's honest and open about something, or they really feel something and then they say it, you don't have to automatically take offense to that.
No, you don't, because when you just examine the word offense and it's like, oh, I'm offended. It's like that's nothing. You can't really help. You can't avoid that. Someone who's offended, that's something that has to do with them. It's nothing to do with the person that says it.
Right.
It's not like you can prevent offending someone because you never know what someone is going to be offended by. So it's really up to the person who's offended to really understand why they're offended and what they can do to change that.
Yeah.
Because
And I mean,
at
there's
some
probably
point,
valid reasons to be offended. Like, I feel like if I wanted
of
to,
course,
I could offend you right now and you could offend me if we wanted to. And it's kind of funny that we could do that while we're talking about
yeah, it's true. You
it. You'd be like, whoa, how would you say that?
what made you say?
And I'm like, a part of me like wants to do it just because I'm like, oh, it'd be funny. But like, but it's like that's the funny thing. Isn't it funny that we have that power we can offend someone
We
easily.
can
So that
exactly,
means
but
that they're at our mercy. Like we can do whatever the fuck we want with them. We're playing them like an instrument. If
you
somebody
can. You can't. The thing is, you can't. And you know what's funny that you say that because I sometimes have dramatic, like if something that happened in I can just imagine the worst scenario out
yeah,
of anything.
right.
So a lot of times, like just the fact that you said that, that's something I just thought about too. And it's amazing how you could just do that. You're right. You
You
have
could.
that power, but
Yeah.
then you say, okay, what is it like? Is how
What does it
useful will
achieve?
it be?
Right. Yeah.
You
It
know?
depends what you're trying to achieve. I mean, people like to sometimes just get people riled up for the sake of it. I've noticed some talk shows do it. They will get someone
Yeah.
in that they
Hmm.
know has a bit of an anger problem, and then they'll
Right.
say something
Yeah.
specially to
Exactly.
get them worked up about something. They'll get them
Hmm.
shouting and yelling and everything, and then they film it all, and then it makes all the great ratings. They do it all the time.
Yeah.
I'll say
Because it's effective. So if
it
you get
is. It's
the person
dramatic.
that speaks the loudest to get angry, then
Yeah,
your ratings are soar through the roof.
exactly. Exactly. So,
So we know that there's a profit based motive, but there's also the fact that people like it when people are unadulterated and
they like
with
to
no
see that,
filter.
right? That's so
Yeah,
true. And why do you think that is? Because of the exact same thing we're talking about, which is that people are not allowed to say and be the things they want. So when they see somebody get angry, then all of a sudden the person's cursing out and saying all these things that normally people would never say. There's something to the fact that we're so unable to fully express ourselves as we are, that we're drawn to drama and we're drawn to people that are able to be free at those moments and just do whatever the fuck that they want to say and do.
yeah, and it's probably because a lot of times we don't say what we want to say because of the fear of perceptions around us,
Hmm.
especially people who we think look at us a certain way, and
Exactly.
and it's
Exactly.
just weird kind of shit like that. But if you like, I actually have a friend who this guy, you never know what you're gonna get. Like one day he might have a wig on, one day it might be like he's and I love that because it's like
Yeah,
he
he's changing
just
stuff.
steers off the path. Like what it doesn't. I don't. Whatever you thought, that's
Yeah,
not what it is
that's not what
now.
it is
You know.
anymore. Yeah, I love that.
And
I mean,
that's kind of how I've been incorporating that recently. Because before I was like, oh, I don't wear. I don't want to wear no
yeah, yeah,
color, or
yeah.
I wouldn't wear that button. That looks too old. I'm gonna just put a button on it
You can
anyway.
do whatever you want,
Okay. Right, I can just do whatever. But it's something to not being right that harms a lot of people. And at one time, I used to be very frustrated when I was proven wrong. Like I just my feelings was hurt. If somebody proved me wrong, I just was like,
yeah,
but no,
yeah. I've
you know,
seen
and
a
it's
lot
like
of people
okay,
like that. Yeah.
yeah, and it's very easy to be like that when you want to be right. But then the question is, why do I want to be right? And
Hmm.
why don't I want to be wrong? Why is it wrong for me to be schooled? Why do I take offense to
Yeah, I
that?
mean, if you're
You
wrong,
know?
you're literally learning something. If you're right, you're not learning anything. You're gonna be exactly where you
Right.
were
You're
then.
gonna so it makes more sense to be wrong
It,
because then you'll
you're
learn
increasing
different
your
ways of
knowledge.
approach.
You're yeah.
Right. You're different exactly. So now when I'm corrected or say, hey, you should blah blah blah. And what's funny, I think if anything, the funniest way of being told you're wrong is when someone's like, yeah, well, that's not actually. And I would say right now, you, Jeremy, are the perfect one to do that. Like, I don't know what it was. I remember telling you something. You was like, yeah, well, that's not actually. And sometimes when it comes in
Yeah,
that fashion,
it's
you're
funny.
doing it in a funny
Yeah,
way. You're not
yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's wrong, or what made you say that? Or that's actually wrong, dumbass. You can say,
And
slow down for a second. Let's see.
exactly.
Let's look at this a little bit further. It's not to say that being wrong or having because that's the thing. You can see it in so many different ways,
Right.
so many different contexts,
You
you
can
know?
only be wrong a certain amount of times as well, because it's like you will
Yeah.
gradually increase your knowledge more and more until eventually you'll be on top of a lot of stuff. And it's like, I think this is also why Lewis Carroll said about lessons. It's the same as being wrong. It's kind of like being taught a lesson. He said
Hmm.
lessons also lessen as you learn more, Lessen.
Yeah. Lesson.
And
Ah, I like it.
I like the wordplay. Ultimately, we shouldn't be cruel about it. If somebody's wrong, then that's a cool thing that they
Yeah,
can
it's
learn.
okay. Yeah, because it's not like they intended to be
But
wrong. I mean,
they're
people
yeah,
just go off.
exactly. If they're wrong, they're wrong. They don't know that
They're
they're
wrong.
yeah.
They're wrong. And it's like, and then also, if you examine the term wrong
What
at
is
its
that?
core, it's
Yeah,
non-existent. It's
right.
such as right too. None of those terms are really true in the essence of
No.
their
Yeah, you can
definition. You
lift up
know,
your left hand and the hand that's remaining is your right hand, but you could also say it's the hand that's left because it's the one that's left behind. So you have
right? Exactly. Exactly. That's
there's
why I
no
love you,
way.
man. That's your
Yeah.
wordplay. You heard that, you guys? Rewind that if you didn't catch it. It's like I said earlier. Everything and nothing is connected. So.
Hmm.
There's really no other way of seeing it. It's just your life. But I am not one to just going back on that social justice warrior thing.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna be no warrior for nobody. I used to be very reactive, I realized,
Hmm.
and I still can be, but I'm not as reactive as I used to be, especially on Twitter. That reminded me when I was in church that one thing we used to always say after church is that I love you and there ain't nothing you can do about it.
I like that.
Which I
Yeah.
like that because it was like,
Yeah,
whatever you do, it don't matter. I'm gonna still be
and
down.
that's
And
that's beautiful. That's true love. That's really great.
yeah, that's love. That's like saying, you know what? Because we're all in this
Yeah.
dirty fucking town and
Yeah.
of a city that pretends to care that doesn't. Where the piss is on the sidewalk and people forgot to pick up the shit from their dog, but we're all here. So like, I don't get too worked up. And even if it's something, and that's the thing with gossip, because gossip always wants people to be outraged.
They do.
Because,
That
ooh, have you
always.
heard the
Yeah.
rumor? It's like
Like, oh
people
my
are
God,
invested.
the
Like,
headlines are
really?
just they're
Right.
just
Oh my God. That's so
did you read that?
disgusting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's the fucking immigrants again. It's like, damn, seriously?
That's what Trump is literally the poster boy of. Like everybody
Oh, because he
needs him.
works the system. He knows. I was thinking today, I had a random thought. I'm like, man, I wish Trump called me out on some shit. Do you realize
On
how
Twitter.
much like capital I would have? Like
Yeah.
all it takes is for Trump to say to call you a loser for people to be like, Trump called April Ryan a loser. It's like, okay, but he mocked a disabled person. Why is this news?
Right,
Like,
right.
this is what he does.
Yeah,
Why is
yeah.
this like, if,
He's
like I
basically
said,
like Simon Cowell. He can just say
right, he
something
could
and
just,
then
exactly. All he does is talk. He doesn't act. He
no,
just literally said, I just thought they're not a nice guy. And they're
doesn't
blah,
even
blah. Oh,
talk. He just types it out, texts it. He doesn't even have to open his mouth.
and so people keep talking about him.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it's
it's so
working.
stupid. It's ridiculous. That's why, again, I've kind of eased up on Twitter
Yeah,
because
Twitter
it's
is
like,
crazy. It's really
I ain't
crazy.
trying to get into that shit. I want to follow people that make me laugh.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
need Twitter
You
to
get
add to the
enough of
drama
that.
that's already in my
Yeah.
life.
And then they make all these shows on TV all about drama too. What is with that? Yeah, it's just this strong desire for drama.
No one wants the drama when it's on their front door.
No, absolutely not. It's funnier to watch it, I suppose. It's the same as like hurting yourself. You don't really like to get hurt, but a lot of people like to watch other people get hurt, like just in fun
Yeah,
ways.
well,
I mean, like
exactly.
falling
Because
over
it's
or tripping up on something or whatever. People
that shit
tend
is so funny. And I have a genuine reaction to that. Like if I see somebody fall, I will laugh my ass off. Like it doesn't matter the context. I don't care how old you are, what disability, it
see,
don't
I
matter.
see, I only have that half because I don't. Sometimes I actually feel sorry for people more, but I can
If
understand
they're
it.
in pain, but
Yeah.
I'm talking about especially in distance, not like up close, that's different. But like, you know how if you like people watching.
A disabled person, you said, like literally is walking past you. The drunk.
It's so messed up that I'm laughing about it. But yes, it is funny to me. I can't lie. It is funny to me.
Oh my god.
But let me justify it. Let me be the human and justify it. The reason why is because if you're disabled, especially if you were born disabled, you've always been disabled. You know, it's not like you stop being
Oh my,
so if you fall, it's like you falling as a non-disabled person.
oh my Whoa, that's I actually see what you're saying. Like
Yeah, you see what I
you're
mean?
actually being less discriminatory. It
Because
sounds
it's
like
not
you're
like I'm
being very
saying,
discriminatory,
oh,
but you're saying no.
right.
I'm treating them the same as anyone else. I would laugh no matter who they are. So if they're disabled, I'm gonna laugh at them too. That's what you're saying. So you're
Yeah.
less discriminatory than it sounds. It's very funny.
Yeah, man. That's how I think of it. Because shit, everybody, like we said, we all in this dirty ass town. That's why the last chapter in my book is called "Tripping on Your Trip." I think it's
Chipping
called,
on your trip.
which
Yeah,
is,
yeah, yeah.
which is like, I mean, we all on this trip. Why would I be tripping on yours? You know, like
Right, right.
it's too much. It's too much essence. It's too much life. It's too much to be had. Too much to be eaten.
Yeah,
You know, to
yeah,
be focused on one thing.
exactly. So it's a cruel world. It's hard for a lot of people. There's a lot of heartache and there's a lot of
Hmm.
difficulties and horrible things. But how do we get through that? How do we manage to keep sane through all of this?
Hmm.
Just a deep question all of a sudden.
We can listen to the sound or feel the
Yeah, music.
temperature around us, the music. I mean, we have tools.
Yeah,
That's the thing, the wonderful thing about humans is that we've invented tools. We
mm,
got a shit ton of tools that we can use
that's
to
true.
help us navigate, even if it's simple tools. I ain't talking about the advanced
A pen.
3D.
Yeah.
A pen, exactly.
As
I
a
mean,
great tool. I'm holding that right now, and I suddenly realized, wow, I could literally write an entire novel. Well, probably not with this pen would run out, but you know what I mean, like a pen.
you see, writing until the pen runs out. Then you get another
You
one.
could write a whole poetry book. Like a lot of things could come from that pen. It's just a
A
pen.
pen, yeah, exactly. Just a pen. And I'm realizing that minimalism, I'm having to get to a place where, man, I write every day.
Yeah, that's
And I
great.
love writing into a book because
And
It's
you're a
like,
true writer too. I mean, you're doing that whether people see it or not. You're just writing every day.
yeah, I'm just writing because that's what I always has been doing. That's the
That's
thing. It's
great.
not like I realized I was always doing that since I learned to write.
It's
That
natural
was
to
just
you.
always
And
my thing.
you encouraged me to do that in 2014. I've never done it for a whole year since then, but that was one of the best things that I ever did, to write every day for that year.
Yeah, oh my goodness. Because then, but see, here's the thing: when you write every day, it's so fun reading back every once in a
Yeah.
while. Because you start reading, it's like, what? That's how I was feeling.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
shit.
But there's patterns too. The other really
Yeah, there
interesting
are
thing is
patterns
things
exactly.
will happen on exactly the same dates.
Yeah, you see the cycles everywhere. Like they're literally found in anything and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, it's all
So something I said, like even me, doing August feels like Wednesday again.
yeah,
That was 3 years ago, but I remember just for it to come back to me when it came back to me, it just shows you how the vibe was the same, and it was like,
exactly.
oh,
And it changed.
3 years.
If you haven't heard August Feels Like Wednesday, you should definitely find it on
Yeah, you guys, you
Jester's
listening and you're
Bandcamp.
laughing, and we totally appreciate your laughs and your love. But we out here struggling. Not
Yeah.
okay, we're not struggling, but
Yeah,
if you
we
want to
are.
support us,
We are
well,
very much struggling.
we are very much
I don't
struggling.
have any income. I'm a struggling artist. I have no money.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's
See,
true.
I've learned to accept that life.
Yeah,
Like, okay,
I know, me too.
I'm an artist, and I don't. Sometimes, you get your highs and your lows.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
get the times where you get good gigs, but if you don't got that consistent income,
no,
you kind of just gotta wait for shit to
yeah,
come.
it's true.
So if you really enjoy, and we're gonna do these podcasts often,
Yeah,
um,
because
take
I'm
note.
not a promoter. I'm a musician. I'm not good at the whole marketing thing. I don't even want to do
Yeah,
that.
no,
So
you just creating
so
musician.
people have found my songs in dreams. It's like that's the way to, that's the way I reach people, but it's a much slower process than
Yeah,
than marketing.
Jeremy
It's
is
like,
really connected to forces. I mean,
I
rewind that
literally
again.
had somebody come in, and that song we worked on together, Space Skimmer. They messaged me and they said that they literally woke up to that song playing, and they got up and they typed in the lyrics, and then they found that song, and then they tracked me down like that and just contacted me to say,
You
you're.
see, now this is real stuff, you guys.
And I had somebody else do the same thing in Africa. They had dreamed of my song Dreams of Africa. And they messaged me out of the blue and said, wow, I just found your song. I just woke up from a dream about this song, Dreams of Africa. I found it. And here I am. It's like, whoa.
And
I mean,
yeah,
it's
so
amazing.
I mean that's so yeah, that just tells you already. That's the level Jeremy's on. I mean, and that's how we have created. That's funny. Space Skimmer was one of our first.
Collaboration.
Actually,
It was that. Wait, no, yeah, we done Rekindle
no,
before then. Yeah.
he did Rekindle. See, we always been working.
Yeah, yeah,
But Space Skimmer in particular did reach a lot of people,
it
and
did. Yeah,
that's a song. If you guys haven't heard, you should listen to. I wrote that one
yeah.
in 2015, not long after I
2015.
moved to Minneapolis. Yeah,
Yeah.
2015. It was one of the first things I wrote, and
And
it was
the second I heard those words, the melody
yeah.
was
I wrote. It was
flowing.
funny because I made a video about it. I read the poem, and then I deleted the video like right
Quite fun.
after I.
Yeah,
But Jeremy so happened to watch it and
and I was
was
onto it
like
immediately. The second I saw it,
immediately drawn to the words and
I
wrote
felt,
a song, and then a lot of people end up hearing it. So
yeah,
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 so there's more coming. um we are always working, and it's gonna always be here. That's what's great about art, is that that's for as long as YouTube and the
yeah,
digital sphere allows us to operate, we'll be here.
we'll be here. So this is
Is there anything else we should add?
no, I think this kind of ends our
This
first
ends it.
episode.
Thank you guys for listening. Submit your questions and comments.
Yeah, leave comments if you have any ideas of topics you want us to talk about, questions, anything at all.
Thank you for listening.